Full transparency. I think I started this video over about 15 times, but okay, we're going with it this time. So I hope you stay around. So let me just get this out the way. Yes, I realize I have a missing tooth. Yes, I realize I may not be the fastest speaker in the world, but bear with me because if you feel that your family needs more connection and you want to have deeper conversations, especially with that reluctant teen or that spouse, that live-in mother, father-in-law, uh, this might be for you. Because in this exercise that I want to introduce, you're going to walk away, if you experience it like we did, and my family did, you're going to walk away feeling closer, feeling more understood. Again, in times like this, stressful times, sometimes we don't realize what each other are going through. um, it's a lot that we're all, or most of us, are experiencing, and sometimes that's easily misunderstood. And sometimes when we don't express it verbally, it manifests itself in actions, and then we walk away and we don't take time to intentionally understand each other. So with this exercise, I like to share um, behind these shoes, and that's what it's called. It's a product that I'm launching that I really hope will help bring your family closer together, maybe even help you understand yourself a little bit better. So there's something definitely in there for you. So the origin of this, how this experience came about was, okay, so I wasn't um, purposed to just find out more about my children. This came about because my family and I are unconventional, meaning that we have various age gaps. My husband's 21 years older than I am, and between the four children that we've raised, there's a 7.5 year age gap between the oldest three, and a 6 year age gap between our youngest two. So me, and being busy in the work world, and my husband, he had retired when our youngest one um, was born. But I had to find a way to take time to connect everyone, because we have all these different generations and the age gaps. We all have various interests in life, and we're going through different things. And we're walking around thinking everybody knows what's going on, and we're taking the surface person that we see every day and going with it and treating them as such without taking time to really get to know, hey, what's it like being you today? Tell me a little bit more, because we have our own perspectives. That's not always healthy. So I just developed something called Tuesday Topics for my family, and that was on Tuesdays, where we obviously would sit around the table and we talk and share. So we take turns. My children, or our children, will come up with a topic for one Tuesday, and then the next Tuesday, my husband and I will come up with a topic. So it was our turn to come up with a topic one Tuesday, and I totally forgot. I forgot. I had a lot going on. So on a whim, I told everyone, I said, grab a pair of your favorite shoes and meet me in the basement. And they all grabbed a pair of their favorite shoes and met me in the basement. And I didn't know where I was going with it at the time. But oh my gosh, it ended up being one of the most powerful, memorable, touching, funny, but also reflective experiences that I could have come up with. And we still do it today. Every now and then we'll do this experience. So let me tell you how it worked. Like I said, we each grab a pair of our shoes. We went to our room in the basement, we put the shoes in a line. And then we drew names, and whoever's name we chose, that's whose shoes we stood behind to share what we thought, what our perspective was, what it was like to be that person today. So let me give you an example for when we did it. She was 10 years old at the time, and she chose my name, and she stood behind my shoes, and she's saying, "Mom, you work a lot, and I see Dad doing a lot of the housework, and I hardly get to see you." Um, and in my mind, I'm like, "Oh, well, Chicky, I'm working to support you. Hold up, your daddy ain't doing all the work." But that's what they saw. And then also, she had mentioned, that hey, he's doing a lot, and he's not working. He's not going to a traditional 9 to 5 job like you are, or working from home like you are, all the hours. And so that by itself, and I couldn't interrupt her. And it's important not to interrupt anyone as they're sharing their perspective. You'll have that opportunity. It's good to take notes, but try not to be distracting, and try not to look like, hey, like I probably did the first time, like, how dare you? So put those feelings aside and let them express, because especially with teenagers or your sensitive one in the family, you don't want to interrupt that moment. That's their moment to share. And if you want full transparency and full participation going forward, you definitely want to follow that tip for success, for a successful session. Um, So after she was done expressing what she thought it was like to be in my shoes, I had an opportunity to share, yeah, this is what you got right. And yes, that is exactly what I do and what it feels like to be me. Here's some things you may not know that I am dealing with on the back end. And yes, while you may see me working a lot, I'm not just behind the computer doing business work. I'm also planning the vacations. I'm paying the bills that you don't see. I'm setting up the medical appointments that you need. So it's those things. So it's not in your face type deal, but they do see their father maybe doing some clothes or washing the dishes and cook, that he's cooking, as our, yes, I was blessed with a wonderful husband that does a lot of that. But what they didn't realize, and what we didn't realize, was they didn't realize my husband had already worked 40 plus years. And so when they are finally of age and they're paying attention, they're like, oh, well, daddy's home doing this. And mind you, we had a younger daughter at the time. He retired when she was born. But we never sat down and intentionally had that conversation with her to say, hey, your father retired at this year and he did this kind of work. Perhaps we should have, because we assumed she knew this. We assumed they all knew that. And such an easy assumption. So share. So this is an opportunity to share. Now on the flip side, I actually had chosen her name. So that was interesting that we chose each other's name, or that we picked each other's name. We didn't choose, we picked out of a non see through bag or container. And I was able to try to share what I thought it was like being in her world today. And boy, did I have a lot of that wrong. And she made sure I knew I had a lot of that wrong. Like, no, mom, it's, I get up and then I have to switch from being this person to try to balance being around friends who's not being raised like me, such as being in the church or being respectful and saying yes ma'am, no ma'am. So and I was like, and then she has the social pressures and the peer pressure, and she don't quite follow the trends that's out there, partly by choice but partly because it just doesn't fit in with our family standards or morals to wear see-through clothes and at a young age, and the croppest of tops where you have more skin than material. So I was oblivious to that. So in my mind, or in our mind, we're like, okay, she's the same little girl that's going to school, that's leaving the home, and while she is inside, she's struggling with that. And it's a hard balance for her to switch it, you know, to fit in and try to not she don't want to fit in. I think you get what I'm trying to say. Hopefully, but it's a balance and it's a struggle. But and the point is, I wouldn't have known that. I would have just continued to go off of what my presumption was of what her day was like, and continue to operate off of that perception. And I couldn't have been further from the truth. But I tell you, at the end of the exercise, it was like such a weight lifted. We all walked away with a better understanding. And I will share our baby at the time. She's like 4 years old. And she wanted to participate. And I almost didn't let her because I thought maybe the exercise would be over her head. But I was like, you know what? She has feelings. She's a person. She's walking around. She's talking. Let's give her a chance to express herself. So if you have a little one, that's important. Hey, you might even want to include your pet, but I don't have any pets, so I might be pushing it with that. But that might be your family, might be your baby. You can alter this exercise to include them. But my 4 year old, we let her participate, and I was kind of blown away. And I was like, oh my gosh. So, one thing that she said that I remember, she says, well, I am the youngest one, and I'm the shortest one. And I feel like I don't fit in. I can't. I play with my dolls. I play with my friends whenever I can, I have a playmate over. But all of you are so much bigger and taller, and I feel like I'm always trying to, get in and participate and share and be part of a bigger conversation. I was like, wow, you can express that? You'd be surprised. Kids are smart. They're intuitive. They comprehend things and they're expressive and can articulate themselves much better than we give them, much better than I've given mine credit for. I mean, I'll speak for me. So it proved to be, and there was another perception I had that my baby girl, she can't express herself. She doesn't need to be part of this exercise. So we have to slow down. I learned in that moment to slow down and be mindful and careful because she's a soul. She was able to, again, express herself. So I was taking that expression away from her, and I wasn't giving me or my husband any credit that we raised her with some common sense and a gift to express herself. so, so it's eye opening, and I think hopefully I've proven that point and driven it home. But again, you're going to walk away with um, a basic understanding. First of all, in this exercise, I also provide conversation cards that has conversation starters where you can take it deeper. And the person who you're the person whose the shoes belong to and who you are trying to describe how you think their day, what it's like in the day of life for them. They get to then now say, hey, what you got right and what maybe you didn't, what maybe you missed, and maybe they want to go deeper on a point, and maybe they want to share, hey, this is what I hope and wish you guys realized about me. This is what I want to say that I'm proud of for me, and hey, this is what I already know about myself that irritate you all, but I'm just as irritated about myself, but I can't change it. I need your support to help me change it. But we've never had this conversation, so I didn't figure you cared, so I just kept rolling with it. So you'll find some surprises. You'll find some great nuggets in these deeper conversations, and you, you hopefully you can walk away feeling more understood, and that you understood your people. The other thing that's included in the kit is reflection cards. So you reflect back on the exercise. Each person would get a reflection card. So my daughter would get a reflection card about me, and I would get one about her because I pulled her name. And I would say, hey, what surprised me about her? What can I do better to help support in the area that she need me to support? How can I be more cognizant of that going forward? And then vice versa. And it helps you stay focused on that particular thing. I mean, because you don't want to over promise you're going to focus on everything that they need you to help them with, but choose maybe one or two things that you can support, and that way you can hold on to it. And you can do these exercises multiple times. I actually suggest doing it maybe twice a year. Things change, people change, family change, the dynamics change, situations change. So it's so good. It's a great exercise to stay atop of that and abreast of what the reality is today. All right. And I keep looking up because I have my notes, because I don't want to miss out on important points. So at the end, you have a family promise page because we want to keep this moment fun, memorable, but sacred, right? And and where we have a family promise where everybody can sign and promise to support the way that they support what they heard, support what they learned, um, help encourage, maybe even push them towards what the desire is that they want to change about themselves, or what they like to improve, or what they like to continue to strengthen, and what they value and what everyone values about them. So there's that reflection page. You'll make it your own. I'm sorry, there's the promise page. So everyone will sign and make sure that they are holding on to what they promised. And then what you want to do is set a date. This is important for the next follow up exercise. Again, I suggest who knows, you make that assessment, but I would say at least twice a year. And then you can include family, friends. You can include, this doesn't have to be, a family is more than just blood, right? You know that. So and I'm going to come out with other versions of this, but I'll go into that more in a moment. At the very end, though, you also have a family certificate that says, yes, we completed this exercise on July 16th, and you can frame it and hang it on your wall, or however you want to display it, because it is a great renewal of family connection, experience, support. It's a great reminder. And we need some feel good moments and some celebrations these days, right? Okay. Now, stay tuned because I will be coming up with various um, uh, uh, experiences. So if it's just a couple to couple, it could be for a church family, a church function, a best friend gathering, BFF. Because some of us have those close knit friends, and we don't know quite how sometimes to develop those moments where we can share our perspective of them and what their day in the life is like. But then this provides an opportunity to kind of get even closer, have a closer net, and more importantly, have a better understanding. Um, I think I've covered everything. I will say this is the experience. It doesn't look that glamorous. I understand, but hey, I promise you, it's one that you'll remember. It's an experience. So I have the link below. You can go and purchase it from Etsy. If you mention this video in as you order it, I will give you a discount or credit for your purchase. But I appreciate the support. But moreover, I really hope this exercise brings your family closer, help your teens, your children, your spouse, your parents, your grandparents, your stepchildren be more understood, more heard, or feel more understood, experience the feeling of being heard, and it provides that opportunity to express themselves. Um, but I pray blessings over you, your family. Go and walk behind their shoes and see how that feels. You'll be surprised. Until next time, have a great one. Thanks for, hopefully you can subscribe. Again, I'm JD with Grace, Grit, and Grind, and I look forward to seeing you next time. And don't forget, when you get this packet, it's going to say share your experience. So I would love for you to come back to this video and share your experience in the comments. I would really love to hear it, your honest feedback. Take care.